Hi, this is Joe Milunas, the owner of Acceleration Zone. I'm really excited today. I actually have an interview with Garceau. She's an Olympic medalist, and I'm really excited to let you know about her. She's actually an author of Swimming Out of Water, and we're really excited to have her here today. And she was actually a Olympic medalist on the Canadian synchronized swimming team in the 2000 Sydney Olympics. And we're just so excited to have her here today. And what we're going to do first is just bring her on and welcome Catherine.
Hi, Joe. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here too.
Yeah, perfect. So excited to have you on our team as one of our coaches, and your past to tell the audience about how we met. I actually told one of my friends who's really well connected, his name's Sonny, and told him what we're doing, helping survivors of sexual assault and changing their lives. And he's like, "You got to meet this woman I know." I'm like, "Tell me more." And so what Sonny did was he introduced us 2 years ago. And now that we have our company fully developed, I invited Catherine to participate. And not only did she participate in a special edition of our main product, but what she did was she became one of our coaches. So we're so excited to have you here today. And we'll jump into a couple questions I wanted to ask you. But I think the first one is like, why do you think emotional state training is especially powerful for survivors to learn? Why do you think that's important?
I think it's really important because when you think about how much a trauma can affect you, some of us will tend towards becoming numb and just kind of numbing our feelings because it's too much to even feel it that much all the time. And so that, alongside with being triggered by different things all the time, it just creates a shutdown. And this emotional state training allows you to work the range of your emotions again and also be in command so that you can choose the more positive states that you want to embody, that you want to feel during the day, instead of like kind of being shut down all the time. So it's really effective in that way because it gives you the ability to access those positive emotions that you may have boxed away for valid reasons in the past, but now you're ready to like live full out again.
Yeah, 100%. So, on that note, a lot of the people that come to us, they really start out in a mess, and I think that what would you say to those people that are feeling like trapped? I was actually reading online about someone who's feeling this exact emotion in a Facebook group today, and I wrote a message to her to help her out. But from your perspective, what do you feel is like the most important thing to do if you haven't taken the first step? Like, where do you start with this?
Yeah, it could be super scary. And I think I've lived a lot of moments like that in my life in different ways. And I actually talk about it in my book because the premise of my book is actually that I trapped myself on a ledge in the Red Rocks of Las Vegas for 24 hours. So the trap feeling was like made specifically to a red rock ledge. And I remember thinking like so many ways, how do I get myself back up? These rocks were impossible to me. And after 24 hours of like trying and thinking like, no, it's too scary. If I fall, I literally fall down this huge cliff. It was like this faith and this like, there's no way that I'm going to let myself just stay here and be stuck. So it was
Yeah.
like this like desire to just like, okay. And then the one step ended up being climbing this whole wall. So it's like, I think it's knowing that our faith and having a good team around us and all that is like just the one little step will make a difference. And then you're going to be in a whole new world, like come, I don't know, a day even, or even half a day, or even a conversation. So I think it's like knowing that trap feeling you'll feel better. Like the moment you just like take that like little minuscule step into a new experience, and you're definitely in the right place here.
Couldn't agree more. Your story is amazing, And when I first read that book, I really recognized that you have a lot of the emotional states that I've always wanted to teach people that want to go from being a survivor like myself. Like I was a total mess right after it happened. And, having powerful people to mentor me in those first few months was so critical for me to accelerate. That's why I named the company that, basically to speed things up, because it was so bad that I really felt like building on what you're talking about. When you have a challenge, like you got to find an emotional state to be in. And that's when we came up with our coaching program for Acceleration Zone, we called it Statecraft, and I built it before inviting you on. And, on that note, like, what do you think is the most important thing for when somebody's starting out, in that coaching program that we teach, what do you think is the first thing that they should really focus
I think the most important part at the beginning is to understand that it's a process, it's a progression, and getting to know, let's say, the state of gratitude, the state of no big deal, the state of the CEO, and then seeing how you can act them out or like embody them at a 1 or a 2, and then or all the way to the top at a 4 or like a 10, and starting to see that without really talking about the traumatic event or going into that darker zone gives you the essence of like, wait, I'm kind of good at this, or with this example, or whatever it is that we're working on the states in a safe place rather than having to dig up the pain all the time. We're actually working on new muscles, and those new muscles will be applied to your whole life in the end. And yet at the beginning, we're just like playing almost this new game that like you would teach children, like, hey, act out like a clown or whatever. But it's like specifically to these different states that we can embody during different parts of our life. And I know when I was going through it, it was like the no big deal was like so fun. And I was like, okay. And I started playing with it. And then with my middle child, I was able to just live it out, and it came out naturally. I was like, oh, I'm just going to use the no big deal right now. And it brought our whole emotional state to a more balanced place, which helped my daughter regulate. And then it was like a win-win because I felt better, she felt better. So it's kind of like that. You don't notice you're working on things that then you can apply in your life, and it all comes together, and it's like this new muscle that you're working out in the gym.
100%. Yeah, I mean, it's so in line with what you did as an athlete. Because one of the reasons I hired you to work on this team was you're really good at working with big emotional blocks that people have. And your reputation as being an Olympic medalist, demonstrates that you have a lot of skill in that area. What do you think? What do you think is like where you begin with somebody dealing with something that's really just dominating their lives that they don't want?
Yeah, I think it's hard at first because like Joe Dispenza says, he quotes the it's always in my head because I love this quote. It's like your personality equals your personal reality. And we don't realize that also our personal reality becomes our personality. So when we've experienced something really dark and hard and almost impossible to take in, integrate, then we turn it into this, like all these emotions that then become our new personality in the world. And it's almost like we have to reverse that. And of course, like I've worked in different ways in like clearing the trauma and all that, but it won't change your personality unless we really work on these different emotional states. So that's where it's really inspiring for me to do this work, because I've had to do it for myself. I've had all sorts of things happen in my life, that including the sexual abuse when I was little, and it didn't appear to have changed my personality. But when I remembered it, because it was a childhood thing, in my 30s, I realized how much it had affected my personality because of these different things that were triggers, or an eating disorder, all these things that ended up being coping strategies.
Yeah.
Had informed my personality. And now it's like these states and these different tools that we're teaching in this program allows us to choose. We get to choose how we want to show up in the world, and we're not going to let this event from the past inform who we want to be anymore. And it takes time and it takes practice. Just like if you want to get stronger in the gym, it's going to take more than one coaching session or one training. It works. And it's very inspiring to even watch the little progress that goes along the way with you just using an emotional state. All of a sudden they're like, oh wow, I did that today. And it builds on itself. So it's really exciting to do this work that starts with like, you think a big breakthrough, but it's really all these little small breakthroughs over time, and the consistency of staying surrounded by the right people.
The right people. That's true. Like one of the things you brought up was how everybody kind of has a way of dealing with pain, right? And it's either like everybody wants to change their state to a positive one, but there are a lot of negative things out there. Like you talked about eating disorders, or self-harm, or drugs and alcohol. There's a lot of like because like I think we can all agree, like everybody is always changing their emotional state, but they're using terrible ways to do it. And what we're teaching here is the contrast is like, yeah, you're going to change your state and be able to do it operantly by choice. Like, can you elaborate a bit on what it feels like to be able to choose your emotional state and like why that's so useful?
Yeah, I think deep down, it just is so empowering to know that we actually have that ability. I remember, like, on the team, we were 8 synchronized swimmers needing to go and perform together. And we would have this circle before each big performance. And we go around the circle and we'd say our focuses and whatever. And then we'd have a team focus of like, this performance is about being really sharp or being really attentive to our patterns or whatever it was, but we were choosing it together. So it would set the stage for what we were going to perform and how. And so I think that was like my early example of like, I was choosing, although inside I was feeling all the nervousness. Oh my God, it's gonna be so hard. I'm going to die, blah, 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 like all that. But then I would focus on, wait, what am I choosing right now? Okay, I've got my team. We're good, we're focused, and here we go. So it's a little bit like that in the sense that you're going to have your coach, you're going to have your program, you're going to have your weekly group sessions, and it's like all those things add up to helping you see that you're in command of how you get to feel every day. And that event no longer will be like the director of your life. You're going to be the director again. You're going to be back in your own, like, you're the pilot. And
Yeah.
that's what's really nice about all this, right? Like, it's just empowering altogether.
It's exciting. Oh man. So, when we first met and really got deep into, taking this on together, one of the things I talked about was one of the tenets that I have like 6 or 7 tenets when I formed Acceleration Zone. One of them is not relying on other people or other specialists to be the director of where you're taking this, including us as your coach. And can you talk about why we empower these survivors to be the leader of their actual healing journey? Like, why do we do that?
Yeah, I think the emotional state that we're referring to is called the CEO, which you'll learn in the
Yes.
coaching program. And if you think about the CEO is leading the team, and it's knowing when to follow their own intuition about the direction of, let's say, the company. In this example, it's like the direction of our life. And I think at first it feels like you really do need the advice of other people. And it's like, this is too much. But the minute you take the first step, which we talked about earlier, that you take the first step and all of a sudden you're like, wait, oh my gosh, like I get this. And then your own intuition will maybe tell you like, oh, this friend is really good for me. This friend, not so much anymore. And that helps you build more consistency and almost like a resonance with everybody that sees you as who you really want to be, rather than maybe your old self or someone that you became because you had to survive. Now we're going from like surviving to like thriving, and you being in the CEO space is a whole different like conversation because you're going to get to feel it. And this program is not only to like empower you to feel healed, it's actually empowering you to like lead the life you want to have.
Yeah.
So it's even more exciting, right? So it's like, wait, I experienced this and it led me here, and now I get to have all these tools that leave you more limitless to where you want to go and what you want to do.
100%. I can see the passion in, when you talk about this. What do you like being, why do you like being a coach? Like, what's there for you?
Yeah, I think for me, really, it was my journey in healing an eating disorder that felt really daunting, in the sense that I could tell what was going on with my body. I could tell there was like food sensitivities. There was a trauma I couldn't put my finger on. There was so many things. But like when I looked at like the eating disorder centers, or they would like, force feed people, and I was like, no, that's not what I need. And it was very confusing. And for that reason, it took a long time. And I had some great coaches. I had some therapists. I had all of it. But it's like I didn't really bring it together until I found the emotional component. And the emotional component really gave me an edge in helping me feel more regulated and back to a nervous system that was calmer and slower.
Yeah.
And though I can get excited, it's like I know this part of myself that I had lost. to so much anxiety. So I think that has led me to want to pass on this sort of role of like anything is possible when we actually build our own team and know that it's possible and see it all come together. And what I love about SenseSync is like it's all together in the sense of it's already packaged in a way that you don't have to like keep looking and looking and looking. You can actually focus on this and build your team around you, and there's a solution. It's already here. And I love being part of this team because of that. It's because the quality has been taken care of at every step, and I almost like wish my old self had that.
That's awesome. So, as you know, like I'm so grateful to have you on the Acceleration Zone coaching team. Let me ask you a question though. Like, you have a lot of opportunities around you being an Olympic medalist. Like, why did you consider working with me and Jenny?
Yeah, I believe in timing. I believe in just resonance and this feeling of I love creating for myself, and I have other projects I'm working on and for other areas of healing and leaving unhealthy relationships, course of control, and those things. And what I love about Joe and Jenny is that you guys have really you just have a good sense of quality, and your passion is there and your heart is there. And I'm like that too. And I don't really love working alone all the time. So I was like, oh, I'm invited into this great team. So that's kind of why I feel like it's a good fit. And my skills have been around emotional intelligence for a long time. And it's one of my passions to bring like a landscape of emotionality to people. So it's great.
All right, one last question to finish off here. And I only do this because I have access to ask you. Talk about what it was like to win your medal in the Olympics, like just for a few minutes before we end here. Will you show us too?
Okay.
Will you show everybody
Oh, yes.
this thing? I was like, I got to see it a couple weeks ago.
This medal actually gets tarnished, and my eldest daughter helped me polish it today. This is a medal from Sydney. Yep. And it was amazing. I mean, it's 25 years ago. I cannot believe that. And for me, making the team was like winning an Olympic medal already. Like I was just on the cusp. So I really had to work to make the team. And that was like a huge, I just did it. And then I remember the opening ceremonies was a big moment because I was also in the state of like, wow, this is it. Because when you train, right, it's like the same in life. And when you're working on something, you forget what you're doing. And then when you get to that point of like, oh, wait, like all these athletes that I've been friends with, they're all athletes too that are going to these games. And so I think that, and then I guess winning the medal was like the cherry on the top, right? It was like, we did it. We were in the run for like Russia and Japan were first and second that year, and France and USA and Canada, we were all in the run for the third bronze position. So I think winning the bronze was winning our gold because we got on the podium. And that I would say was the exciting moment of like, we did it. We won our gold, and the teammate sisterhood feeling was really great. And yeah, I guess that's a highlight that I will always remember, although I feel like even healing from an eating disorder and overcoming hardship in my family, like everything becomes that satisfactory because of the effort and the rewards we get on the other side. So it's like, I feel like even, I think I write that in Swimming Out of Water. I felt like overcoming an eating disorder and being comfortable with my body and food was even more of a like success in a way than having an Olympic medal.
Wow. Well, I just wanted to thank you again for being online with me from Canada today. And we're so excited to have you on this team. And I can't wait for more of the women that we help to get coached by you and have you change their lives. It's such an amazing part having you here. And, when we built this company, we wanted to make it with A players. And we're so excited to have you as one of the leaders here. We really just, Jenny and I talk about you a lot, and it's a really high positive regard. I think you set a really high standard for not just yourself, but all the coaches that are going to follow you, that are going to come into Acceleration Zone. We set the bar really high with having you here, and we're excited to have you help take people from being in a hot mess, like a total mess, and changing their lives and getting what they want. And you're the right person to do it with us. So thanks for being here.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me part of the team. And I'm so excited to help all the women that are just ready to take that one little first step.
100%.
So that's all that's needed, right?
Yeah.
So I'm excited and grateful.
All right. Thanks, Catherine. So I'll wrap up here and just let you know that I'm going to put a link in the description of this video if you want to participate and start your healing journey with us at Acceleration Zone. We actually have a course that's only $1. It's called the Awakening Challenge, and it has 4 powerful lessons. One of them being attacking the big lie, which is that healing from this takes forever, or that it'll be permanent. And the thing is that when you really take this class, the Awakening Challenge, it really starts to unlock a lot of the beliefs that have been perpetrated in forums all over the world, that it takes forever. And we really address that in that course. It's only $1, and it's phenomenal. And it's a way to get started and really get to know our company and see if it's a good fit for you. So I'll put the link in the description, and it'll actually be right here. But again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.